Hey everyone, welcome back to Pine Hollow Auto Diagnostics. Today we have an interesting case study, potentially. 2004 Toyota Tacoma 5-speed, 4-wheel drive. The guy's got 260,000 miles on it. Bulletproof truck. Just got a new frame from the dealer under warranty, so this thing should be bomb-proof until 500,000 miles, right? He said the other day he was out in the woods. He does a lot of field work for the university, driving up and down gravel roads and paths, and he just really uses his truck, get firewood. He said he was just driving on a gravel road, slight uphill grade, and the truck just lost power. Didn't stall out, just lost power. Shut it off. It started back up, kind of long crank time. And he said that he tried driving it and it would go like 2 miles an hour. He had the accelerator floored, just wouldn't go. Let it sit for another 10 minutes. Then the truck started up, ran fine, and he got home and has been driving it for a few days now. He brought it in for some maintenance work, but he said he wants his truck to be reliable. So can we try diagnosing this issue? It's only happened once for him, I think. I remember like 5 years ago something similar happened and then it just never came back. So at least let's start by scanning this beast for codes. It's got the legendary 3.4 liter V6. So jump right in here. Codes. Don't care about catalyst, don't care about evap. P2111 throttle actuator control system stuck open. Well, what do they mean by that? I mean, it's got a regular throttle cable on it, right? Well, let's read about this system. And if we go to troubleshooter, engine, code tips P2111, because the throttle actuator is operated by the ECM and opens and closes the throttle valve using an electric motor and gears. The opening angle of the throttle valve is detected by the throttle position sensor, which is mounted on the throttle body assembly. The throttle position sensor provides feedback to ECM. Okay, so is this an electronic throttle control system? Throttle actuator does not close when signaled by ECM one-trip detection logic. So possible causes: throttle actuator, throttle with motor body assembly, throttle valve. Vehicle uses electronic throttle control system. Select for more information. ETCS, composed of a throttle motor to operate the throttle valve, electromagnetic clutch, early models to connect throttle plate and control motor, throttle position sensor to detect opening angle, an accelerator pedal position to monitor the how fast you want to go. The throttle position sensor mounted on throttle body provides feedback to the PCM. Throttle position sensor uses 2 Hall integrated circuits. Throttle shaft has throttle plate on one end and yoke with 2 magnets located at the other end. Sensor detects the throttle valve opening angle, bearing change in magnetic flux density as the yoke revolves. Okay. The accelerator cable and link have been discontinued. The accelerator pedal position sensor has been relocated to the accelerator pedal. However, when the DTC is stored, PCM shuts down the power. So what is this thing? This thing right here. I looked under the dash and this thing still has a throttle cable. You see it's right there. Old school, right? Well, that's what I thought. But not the case. We go to our component test meter. In the throttle control system here under fuel injection, APP sensor, component information. So it's a 4-pin It says on throttle cable side of throttle body. So this right here, this 4-pin connector, this is actually the accelerator pedal position sensor. They just left the throttle cable here because it was, I guess, cheaper to put a sensor on here than make a new gas pedal or whatever reason. So it's kind of a hybrid system. So it still has a cable, but it behaves like a new style electronic throttle control system. So this is the APP, and then on the back side we have 4 sensors right here. So that's the TPS mounted right there, and then we have another connector, 4 pins, and that goes to the motor. Kind of hard to see. So indeed, this thing does have electronic throttle controls, which is crazy. Why do this? For emissions, whatever. Throttle position sensor, component information, and again you have 2 sensors. And if this was a 5-speed 2-wheel drive, it would still have the regular old school system. However, except 5-speed 2-wheel drives, 4-wheel drive, we're going to have a 4-pin double TPS at throttle position throttle motor connector, integrated with throttle body and engine compartment attached to intake manifold. Okay, and the throttle motor itself, 03 to 04 model year Tacoma with the V6 is equipped with this intelligent throttle control system. Calculates optimal throttle valve opening in accordance with the driving conditions. It acts to remove small driver inputs, nervous foot, to increase fuel mileage while decreasing emissions. Well, I mean, the thing gets 20 miles a gallon, I guess. TPS acts to provide quick feedback to ECM, blah, 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 blah. So, okay, so he had a problem with the system. Now, the code says, back to our troubleshooter, the throttle actuator does not close when signaled by the ECM, one-trip detection logic. Okay, so it's not fussing about like correlation of the accelerator pedal sensor or the throttle position sensor. This is a mechanical, hey, we didn't close when the computer told you to close, so we're going to set this code and disable the throttle. Okay, now the truck has 260,000 miles on it with a lot of off-roading, wear and tear use. So is it possible that the throttle body is actually wearing out, even on a Toyota? Yeah, it's possible. And it's a shame it's not the old school system, because that would never wear out. You might have to replace a cable, but on this thing, what do? Just replace the whole throttle body? I'm sure it's not going to be cheap, but in terms of a diagnosis, we have to recreate this problem, and I'm pretty sure, I have that feeling that we can play around with this thing for hours. And it's not going to get stuck. Now what we can do is pop off this boot and see if it's like really dirty, or if it got like stuck a little bit or something. Clean it out, give it back to the owner, tell them to drive it, see if the problem returns. But at least the car set a code for this, and we have a direction. Because when he was describing the symptoms, I'm like, you have a throttle cable, it can't possibly be that. Like, what do? Maybe a fuel pump's wearing out? No, this is a throttle control system problem. So let's pop off that boot and do a visual inspection. Alright, let's put a little WD-40 on these hose clamps. You could just pop off that one. Let's That's a 10. This is okay. That's off. See what else is holding this back here. Guess this wire. Okay. This hose here. Okay. Not bad. There's a whole bunch of appendages. So let's see what's inside of here. Can this thing get stuck? It seems pretty free. There's a little carbon buildup, not bad by any means. But it was stuck open. I don't know. All we can do is clean it out and give it back to him, I guess. We could do is run the truck, see what the throttle position is at idle, clean it out, and see how dirty it was. But other than that, this is not going to be fruitful. What I'm also noticing is in this air intake pipe, there's a whole bunch of dust and dirt, and that shouldn't really be there. I think it'd be a little cleaner than that. Oh, stop, do not discard. Non-disposable air filter. Well, let's see what's hiding under here. What does Erico call these? Kendra and Natalie? Yikes. Oh my gosh. Now again, I don't know if this is related to his throttle problem, but damn, that is the most clogged air filter I have ever seen in my life. And like I said, the guy does a lot of gravel roads, so that's ridiculous. Actually, it might be a little too fast to blame the air filter here. If you notice, this rubber seal should seal all the way around. But by the lines on it, this is all dusty right down here, and it's kind of bowed in. Also the air box, clean all the way around except for the bottom. So I think this rubber seal wasn't properly installed on here like that. That allowed air to bypass the filter. And the filter itself on this side looks actually pretty good. Has little droplets of oil on it still. Obviously this side did its job. That's crazy clogged. So I don't know if we can clean this out. Clean out the throttle body. Vacuum out the air box, and he's also here for a tune-up. We'll do spark plugs and some fluids, but this truck just needs some cleaning perhaps. You got the shop vac. Throw this junk out of here. Now in the instructions it says here, to service, soak in K&N filter cleaner, rinse with water, dry completely, do not use compressed air, re-oil with K&N filter oil. Well, I don't have filter oil, so we're just going to do the best we can, as in get all that chunky dirt off of there, and kind of do the, you know, if it's been working fine up until now, I figure we'll make it better, but we'll tell the owner he needs to clean his air filter since it's special. Alright, well, we got most of the chunkies out, so we'll tell him to do whatever he does to this thing. I don't know if he's ever serviced it or if the truck came like this, but let's reinstall it and do our throttle body cleaning. So making sure the rubber seal contacts the entire perimeter. Close this baby up. We should blow out that air tube with some compressed air too. Alright, so let's run the truck. Make sure it's fully warmed up. Smooth Toyota. I think it's still running in the original timing belt, believe it or not. Non-interference engine, so if it snaps, then no big deal. So there's data. Electronic throttle control system. So I have everything reconnected. Engine speed, coolant temp, throttle position, accelerator position 1 and 2. And that's about it. It's about 730 RPM. Throttle position's at 14%. Keep that in mind. Save that data. This is before cleaning. Now let's clean out the throttle body and see if this throttle position percent drops down to keep the same idle speed. Alright, let's get in here with some. You can use whatever you want. I like this electronics cleaner. Just spray it on a paper towel. First, wipe the bore out. Yeah, there's going to be some dirt in there, especially with that leaky air filter. So continue until your paper towel comes out nice and clean. Now some people say, you might hurt the motor by opening it manually, but if everything's de-energized and it's open smoothly, doesn't offer too much resistance, if you use it carefully or open it carefully and use your head, it shouldn't be a big deal. Again, a lot of stuff coming off. So definitely probably never been touched since the truck was new. So 260,000 miles of not easy miles either. It's definitely due for a little TLC. Now some cars it's like, hey, if they keep running, just don't touch them, right? It's bad luck. You're gonna upset the equilibrium. Sometimes, yeah. But simple stuff like this can only help, right? Wow, that is really actually quite black. Now when it says the code set when the throttle plate was stuck open, but there's no freeze frame, I checked, where, you know, like what was the angle of this thing? Is there a gear that's a little worn out? We don't know. The only way to know is to look at live data while it's happening. And I don't think we're going to catch it in the X because very, very intermittent problem. Again, there's a chance that no parts required cleaning of the air intake system will make it run for who knows how much longer. So we finish this up and we'll fire it up and see what the throttle angle is at idle. Alright, put the air tube back on. Let's see if this thing like roars to life. Favorite engines right here. Just smooth, torquey, robust, no com. No, that's still there. Retry. Oh, we got the bend code. There we go, collecting data. Engine speed, coolant, throttle, accelerator. Okay, let's do that. You can see now it's at 980, throttle position's at 14. So the RPMs went up like 200, but throttle position did not change. So is there like an idle relearn on this thing? Maybe. You know, if you let it cool down all the way, restart it, or disconnect the battery, reset everything. Not too worried about it, but at this point, can't really recreate the customer complaint, although we do know the problem has to do with the throttle system. And we will tell them we cleaned everything up, throttle plate moves freely, everything's good. So put in some fresh spark plugs, change some fluids, and shift this thing. That's coming down a little bit. Now it's at 13. It'll probably slowly relearn. Alright, a little bonus footage. Who wants to guess what these spark plugs look like? Wow, so these were NGK iridiums, and you can see the ground electrode actually got the brunt of the wear. The tip, the center electrode's still pretty good. Let me get a fresh spark plug we can compare. So here's a brand new, identical plug. Check out that ground electrode. Yeah, that's definitely eating away. Now, if you can, if they don't make them for this model, but you can get a twin tip iridium plug that will last pretty much forever. So even these things, you know, the center electrode looks excellent, but the ground electrode is obviously worn away pretty hard. Like that gap is about twice the spec. So we'll pop these guys in and this thing should run really nicely. Now, there's a lot of debate on what to use. Should we put anti-seize on these plugs or not? Well, the frontmost cylinder came out a little hard just because some moisture got in there and the plug actually got a little rusty. So what I like to do is just give it a quick spritz of WD-40, nothing excessive, and blow out the hole. It threads right in there. Perfect. Again, tighten to crush the washer in there. That's perfect. This guy. Okay. Alright. And then on the tips of the coils, we can put a little dab of dielectric grease on there for good luck. So each coil I just kind of smear it on. Everything here is original as far as I can tell. Toyota quality. This is the last year of the bulletproof Tacoma, at least in my opinion. Like the wheel bearings last forever, the engine lasts forever. Newer ones, not so much. So those three we'll call done. Sweet. One bank's done.